podcast with Amanda, Shandy, and Colleen. My name is Colleen.
My name is Amanda.
And I'm Shandy.
Welcome to the show, everybody. This is season 5, episode 27, number 127. How's it going?
Good.
Pretty good.
Excellent. Full disclosure, as you probably noticed already since we did the bonus show first, I am fully in my pajamas right now.
I thought those might be pajamas.
I mean, and that's why when I went to
didn't want to say anything, but they looked very pajama-esque.
Oh, they are, and they're from Costco, obviously. They're my favorite things in the world.
Oh, they're nice.
Yeah, they're full on like flannel. It was cold down here before, and last week when we came up, because we finished after midnight, and by the time whatever, I didn't get upstairs until 12:30, and I was so tired that I fell asleep in my clothes. So this week I was like, and I'm just going to put them on, like no bra, anything. I'm just,
do it.
I'm all relaxed.
You live that best life.
I'm tired, so I am.
You know what? We have been doing this quarantine thing for 10 months now?
Only 10?
Yeah, I don't know. Almost a year. 80 years. It's unclear at this point exactly how long it's been. But if there's any silver lining, it's that you can wear your pajamas whenever you want.
Yep.
I'm a big fan of pajamas. I wholeheartedly support this.
I'll get dressed next week because they're going to be live for the patrons.
Or we could just decide it's going to be a pajama party.
Oh, that's fun.
Ooh, a patrons pajama party. I like that idea.
Yeah.
That's really fun.
I really am like a sucker for pajama sets. So like all of my pajamas are like full on sets of pajamas. And I love them. They're like my favorite thing.
Ooh. But I would wear these exact same pajamas again because honestly, they are my favorite.
They're super cute, as you totally should.
Mm-hmm.
Because I do have other sets of like matching jammies, but like these are the ones that like if I'm doing a load of laundry and I'm just looking for something to throw in, even if I wore them for like a day, I'll be like, all right, it's all right. I'm just going to wash them so I can get another day's use out of them on the back end. We're good.
Yeah, no, I respect that. I also respect that you call them jammies because that is also what I call them.
Of course.
No, they are jammies.
Yeah.
Or jams when you just don't have the time to say the
jammy
full
jams. Welcome to my jam party.
Yep. Gotta go put on my jams. That is the thing I say most evenings. I'm very serious about pajamas, guys.
As am I. Or much like Fiona, who feels comfortable farting in all over the place, I feel comfortable with you guys wearing my jams.
I love it. I love that we're at that level of friendship. That means a lot.
Technically, we were at that level of friendship on like day one as we lived together.
That's true. I have seen Colleen's pajamas throughout the ages.
And to be fair, I still have some of those pajamas.
Do you still have the purple star boxer shorts?
I do. Oh my God, I'm really embarrassed that you remember that. I do, but I can't wear them anymore because they have a hole in them. And I really do need to just throw them away. But oh my God, the fact that you remember them really just warms my heart. Show is over, guys. I'm going to go upstairs and go to sleep happy.
I feel like those started with us in college. And I think I remember them in Astoria as well. They were a solid choice.
They are. Thank you. Yeah. I wish that I could still wear them, but they are in a drawer. Oh no, I think I moved them to the top of the closet with some of the clothes that I'll never wear, but I'm too sentimental to get rid of.
Oh no, that's fair. I have t-shirts like that.
Yeah.
I legit have t-shirts from the 90s that I just am not willing to part with. Mm-hmm. No judgment.
Same.
I just have to say, I feel like you guys are so proper, and I feel kind of like nervous to talk about mine because I say pajamas, and here you are saying pajamas. It sounds so my proper. Mom, is that like an East Coast thing?
I don't
Y'all
know.
are proper out there.
My mom says like pajamas, jammies. Like she tries to say jammies, but it doesn't come out right. But it doesn't sound like a New York thing. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
She'll be like, "Oh, boys, are you in your jammies yet?" And sometimes I try to correct her and be like, "Jammies," but at some point you're just an asshole, so I stopped.
Well, if you say pajamas, then it goes to reason that you would say jammies.
Yeah. But like jammies is so informal.
Jammy jams.
Jammy jams. I feel like if you've got like the long vowel in it, like you're more formal.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. You guys.
I mean informal.
Talk about your pajamas.
No, you're more informal because it's like relaxed. Because Magic E has made the vowel say its name. Oh gosh, wonder what it was doing to make it say its name. But we've been doing a lot of reading at home, guys. A lot of sounding out the words. I must ask at least 3 times a page. Okay, now this is a Magic E. So what is when you're sounding it out?
A Magic E.
Yeah.
Huh.
We learned it as silent E, but they call it they call it Magic E, and Magic E makes the vowel before it say its name.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, it took me probably took me a good 9 months of schooling to. But it turns out, if you listen to Letterland enough times, Letterland is the program with the characters, you too will learn about Magic E. But
Magic E.
Yeah. He's a magician.
That's much more fun than Silent E.
Yeah.
It is more fun than Silent E. Yeah. Anyway, here we are in the spirit of my Lord of the Rings watch with my children that I just finished. We're finally at the end of all things with Trump, hopefully.
You guys,
wow.
It's less than 24 hours. And actually, on that note, I did a little late reading.
Oh, yeah. No, anything with tyranny in the title is just, something to thumb through.
I saw Timothy Snyder on the news a couple of times, and he wrote this book on tyranny, 20 Lessons from the 20th Century. So I was like, I should probably read that. It's a super quick read. The pages are very small.
Yeah.
But I would recommend it. It is instructive and terrifying. And just a reminder that we get a new president tomorrow, but we have a lot of work still to do.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's not going to fix everything or anything, really. But hopefully it's a start. Hopefully, without hope, we're, completely lost. What's the point?
So, it might be naive to have hope, but I feel like...
Oh, you have to.
You have to because, I spent so much of the last 4 years, especially 2 years, just 2.5 years, just so angry all the time that... I'm kind of at the point where I've had a little bit of I haven't been on Facebook in a while, but I've had a bit of a social media break where I'm kind of at the point where I get mad. We were talking on our text thread today about the episode of The Daily with the Trump supporters who just didn't understand that the election was not rigged and I hear that stuff and I pop into Facebook and I see dumbasses on there and I'm I get angry and then I got to turn it off. But I'm at the point where I was so cynical, everything is hopeless, everything is fucked. And yeah, it might be, but I feel like I'm at the point where mentally I need to be but there's still a chance, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I think that not in quite those words, but that's one of the lessons in here. Another one is to be kind to our language, which invites us all to spend maybe less time on the internet and reading actual print media and books, which I think, anyone can take that advice and do more of that in their life. But it's just a funny contrast because we literally just had a president who has never read a book. So yeah, funny to see the link between, social media and tyranny and whatnot.
I did it was an article in something or maybe it was a tweet tip or something, but somebody was mentioning how Trump has never sat down and read a book, but he will read all the gossip about people feeding from his administration would try to turn on each other by feeding stories to the media in order to gain favor with Trump and backstab each other and blah blah blah, and is this the gossip culture of the last 4 years, and is it really great or is it not? But it also reminded me of how in Bridgerton the queen is super obsessed with Lady Whistledown's pamphlet, and I'm man, Last week he was the same as Pedro Pascal, Maxwell, what's his name? Maxwell Lord, Maxwell something in Wonder Woman 84, where he's like maniacally laughing at like the world burning. And this week he's like the Queen Charlotte in Bridgerton. Waiting to hear what the gossip columnists have to say about him. But anyway, sorry,
Good
Shandy.
comparison.
Totally. Oh, but it is crazy that, because in certain ways it really felt like this day would never come. And I know that sounds over dramatic, but at the same time, it's not. And just like watching some of the recaps on the news today and being like, oh my God, that happened. Oh, I forgot about that. And like, even just like the Muslim ban, like that was a week into his presidency.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's just the acceleration of the news cycle. It is dizzying. But if you go back and think about every single thing that happened over the past 4 years, it's just like your brain can't compute that much stuff.
Right.
It's really insane.
I actually, and we could talk more about this if you guys want to when we do broad topics next week on the 25th, January 25th at 9 p.m. We'll use the same link that we always use. So, look for that if you don't have it or ask us for it, but it'll be out and about. But I retweeted a thread that the author of it was like, now that we're in the home stretch, let's revisit some of the craziest moments of the Trump presidency. And the first one is looking directly into the sun during the eclipse.
Right. Like even just like shit like that.
But the one that I always go back to, and I actually retweeted it today because somebody had the clip up, and I know I've referenced it a lot here, but remember when he gave that fucking bonkers speech to the Boy Scouts in like July or August 2017, and he was talking about how he had sex and did drugs on a yacht and like all this crazy stuff.
What?
I sort of remember that vaguely, but not the details. But that does remind me, because I think that came up, and there's this article on CNN about like I can't remember what the superlative it was, but like the top that sounds weird to say, the top 15 lies. It was like the most telling 15 lies or something like that of the Trump presidency, and that was in there. But that's an interesting read too, to look back, and that's just 15, and he lied.
Right. And how did they even just pick 15? Like, how did they land on that 15? I would be curious. Out of the millions they could have picked from.
Their editor was like,
let's just been working on it all 4 years. That was like their assignment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one was like the most deadly, which was lying about COVID. One could argue that lying about the election was maybe the most destructive. They ranked it differently, but anyway, like those kinds of lies. But then there are other ones that you're like, oh yeah, that happened. What? The first lie, this is one that I had forgotten, because I think of the first lie being about the crowd size, but it was actually about the fact that, the alternative fact that it didn't rain on his inauguration day when it actually poured. And like, that's literally how he started off his presidency, was lying about something that we can verify with our own eyeballs.
Yeah.
And weather.com. Like,
well,
and for no reason.
But that's the same as the hurricane, when he drew the thingy around the marker around the hurricane.
This way.
That was only a year and a half ago. Not even a year and a half ago. Right? That was like last September. But, when you think about it, and Natasha had responded to my tweet about the Boy Scout thing, because that is in my top 5 WTF moments of this whole presidency. And she said, this has been the longest 4 years ever. We've never had a moment's rest from the endless 24-hour shit show of the Trump presidency. There were so many scandals. They all drowned each other out to the point where the GOP is complaining about free speech versus the insurrection. And it's like when you think there's so much coming at us all the time. And it's not even like, I can't even blame the media, because when this much gold is coming at you, how do you not print it?
Well, there's some lessons about that on tyranny.
Ooh.
Some thoughts.
Like the chattiest media ever. The chattiest administration ever, right? Like was it Fire and Fury? What was the book that came out like 2 years ago? And the guy talked about how like Kellyanne Conway would be tweeting gossip to reporters or texting gossip to reporters, and somebody else found out because her iMessages were logged into like an iPad or a computer or whatever that was up and she just didn't care that she was texting, and anybody that had like this other equipment that it was logged into could just see what she was saying, and just crazy stuff like that. But I'm sure. What does tyranny say about reporting on everything? Like, do you pick and choose, or like do you report on the but also the things like the Sharpie with the hurricane didn't have to be. It showed how like blatantly like pathological he was, but I guess it didn't need to be the biggest deal that it was. It was just so absurd. Everything he did was so absurd. Absurd.
Right. And it's just like he just ruled the news cycle. It's like nothing else could get reported on until we knew what ridiculous batshit thing Trump did that day.
Yeah, but you know what the great
thing is? And I think
is?
that was maybe the lesson in here was like obviously journalism is really important. And so like do everything that you can to support that institution. But then, people in the media should not get distracted by things that aren't important.
Yeah.
When there are, really profoundly important things going on, or, to keep your eye on the prize, so to speak, and not let them distract you, because they will try to distract you.
Right.
Yeah. No, I think that's a good point. And I think that's something that like we have never seen anything like this and, anything like the Trump presidency in modern history. And hopefully we won't ever again. But I think that, the news media just tried to cover it like they normally would. And it was just so outside of normal that it just became this huge snowball that nobody could stop.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think also tell it like it is. And I feel like finally the storming of the Capitol, I think, got them there where they will say things and use words that I feel like they wouldn't have used before. And that's actually been really refreshing.
We had seen points. So the bad news is that Trump made the money. He was always good for ratings. He was good for selling papers. He was good for all the editorials and all the gossip and all the things that would come out that would be behind a paywall to get people to subscribe to the newspaper, right? Or, the online copy of whatever paper was printing it. And he was making the money. He was profitable. So at the end of the day, like the media did help Trump become president and did kind of let them. I mean, the monster was there. They didn't create the monster, but like they also created a version of like part of what's like they did and they didn't create the monster. Like the monster
they had
was
a
there, but
symbiotic relationship.
Exactly.
It's like they handed the monster a megaphone.
Yeah, exactly.
They amplified the monster.
Right. Yeah, because I mean, we could have had if they hadn't taken everything he said so like seriously and he hadn't played the media so perfectly for him in 2015, then we could be having President Ted Cruz right now. We couldn't, we might be another 4 years of it. Like you never know, right?
I know, and we all know where his morals lie. So.
Right, that sounds worse somehow.
Right. Say whatever you want about his wife. He doesn't care.
He will take it.
He will take it. I know we've got a lot to talk about today. And I'm sorry, Shandy's still trying to get through the book. So go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm done. I was it's like a handbook size. So there's something very agreeable about like just flipping through it.
It kind of looks, yeah.
Just I like the way it feels in my hands.
That's what she said.
I'm just playing with it at this point.
Yeah. Some of the things, like I said, I know that we need to move on, but here are some of, real quick, to celebrate the end of the ERROR error, which I'm sure the Bush administration is super glad to get past that title along. But to celebrate the end of this, though, here's some things that happened. Let's see if you guys remember them. We'll do it real quick. Ready? Okay. Catering an all McDonald's dinner because he caused the government to shut down and nobody was cooking food at the White House. You remember that? Along with the picture
of a college football.
I think so. I think it was for college football, and he's in front of like the stacks of McDonald's, and he's like this, like so proud.
So gross. Yeah.
It's very like that. It's very emblematic of just like him.
Yeah.
Right.
Just, like shit food, shit president.
Just garbage.
It's garbage all around. It's not good for you. No. It might taste good, like on that first bite.
It
but
doesn't.
You're gonna probably want to shit your pants by the end.
Which just goes to show that Trump has terrible taste. Throwing paper towels into the crowd after the hurricane in Puerto Rico.
Oh yeah.
Remember when he saluted one of the generals in North Korea?
Nope. Nope, but that's not surprising.
Yeah, that was the thing that happened. Person, woman, man, camera, TV.
Oh my god.
Which was only
6
months ago. My god, that was nuts. Oh, remember when he used to do the power handshake and the other world leaders started catching on to it and they started doing it back to him, so he just stopped shaking their hands? You guys remember that?
You would pull their hand?
He would pull their hand, and then Macron and a couple of other people started doing it to him. I think Trudeau did it, and he just...
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Everything felt less heavy at that time, didn't it?
Remember the photo of him molesting the American flag?
Back when there were moments we could laugh at.
I know. Remember when he had the toilet paper on his shoe walking up the stairs?
Yeah.
Remember when he sat at the tiny desk 2 months ago to sign the bills? It had the half-decorated Christmas stuff that... He was signing a bill in November, and he had this tiny little desk that he was sitting at, and you could see the half-decorated Christmas tree in the background of the picture, and it was
because Melania didn't want.
Because Melania didn't want
to be bothered.
Christmas was
yeah. She was too busy solving bullying. She did not have time.
She was.
Can I just say, literally everything about Trump is projecting always 100% of the time. So the fact that his wife's campaign was anti-bullying is just...
I know.
It's just perfect.
And bullying on the internet.
On the internet, yes.
Let's be specific about it. It was pointed what her quote-unquote initiative was.
Remember when he signed the Bibles?
No, what?
All sorts of fuckery. I had forgotten.
Is he saying, does he think that he wrote that book? Did he think that he got a ghostwriter for that book like he did for his other books?
Remember when he took the golf cart around at one of the G5 or G7 summits and everybody else was walking and he insisted on taking the golf cart? Remember when he skipped going to the grave of the fallen soldiers?
Yes.
Because he didn't want to get his hair wet.
Because it was raining.
Yeah. Remember when he had COVID and he took his mask off in front of That was don't cry for me, COVID.
He put his driver's life in danger by making them do a little drive around.
Yeah. Remember when he couldn't walk down?
A lifetime ago. That doesn't even. That was what?
October 1st.
Yeah, that was the first week of October.
Wow, that feels like a year ago.
Because it was.
Yeah.
Remember when he couldn't walk down the ramp and we had that whole thing?
No.
And the thing is, I don't care if you can't, run down a ramp.
Right.
But then why, no, literally nobody cares about that.
Yeah.
What we care about is that you then, feel the need to lie about it. It's so weird.
Yeah. 2 more things. This is a long list, so I'm just going to do 2 more things. Ready? The first one is, remember the picture of his tie being scotch taped together?
No.
The wind blew up his tie, and they must not have had just a safety pin. It was scotch taped together on the back. The 2 pieces of the tie. Which again,
hey, you work with what you got.
Exactly. That could happen to literally anyone. I've had to I've burst a button in dresses and had to come up with creative solutions. It was just really funny.
Yeah, we all have to wardrobe MacGyver sometimes.
Exactly. And then the final what the fuck one, other than the Boy Scouts thing, which is again my personal favorite. Remember when he was talking to the kids at Christmas, and he was on the phone with a 7-year-old, and he was like, "Do you still believe in Santa?" Yeah, because I guess at your age, if you still believe, it's kind of hit or miss or something at this age. And it was just he basically told the kid that there's.
I had not heard this. I didn't realize that Trump actually talked to children.
Well, he doesn't, and that's why it was so awkward.
Yeah,
okay.
Seems like it'd be really beneath him.
Oh my God.
And that's just a handful of them. There's been so many more. We could just keep playing the remember game, but we don't have to because you know something. By the time you guys hear this episode, he's out.
Here's what I want though. Like, yes, it's I think it's important to remember all the things that happened, but I want to make new memories. And I want those new memories to involve courts and court cases and consequences
and jail time.
And yeah. Here we go. 1 2 1 2 1.
1 2 1 2 1. Here we go.
1 2 1 2 1.
I'm gonna spend 1 2 1 2 1 in my jams.
1 2 1 2 1. Time's up.
Yeah.
Woo. Anyway, we can all prepare for the next dumb scandal on the horizon, which is Joe Biden's Peloton has some security experts worried.
Why?
I think because with Peloton, it like connects to. I only know this.
Your location?
Well, it connects to your location.
You can but Zoom, if they're like Zoom classes.
Yeah. Yeah, they're like Zoom classes, right? Or something, or through the app. So I think there's.
Yeah, so it's a real-time class, or you could do like a recorded class. I think. I don't know. I'm not wealthy. I don't own a Peloton, but from what I've heard. Right.
I did a lot of research recently because Jay wanted to sign up for the app, and I was like, I'm pretty sure we could just get like a $350 bike and like you can use that because I would use the class because I don't like cycling at all. Like, it's just not my thing. Like, once in a while I would take a cycling class back when I went to the gym, but like, it's just not my thing. But Jay wanted to get into it. And I was like, well, if I know the app has other programs. So if they had like core programs or something, I might be more apt to doing it. So we were looking into like the different ways that you could Peloton and, came to the conclusion that it's definitely more cost effective to not to buy their bike, even though everybody that has their bike seems to love their bike, because the subscription for the app, if you don't have a Peloton, is like $12 a month. But if you do, it's like $36 a month.
What?
Yeah, it's like
You'd think it would be cheaper if you owned their very expensive bit of equipment.
Yeah, I asked Twitter, and that's how it was explained to me. And then I Googled around and read some like blog reviews and heard the same thing.
Do you have access to more stuff if you own the bike? That's why you pay more monthly?
I don't think so. I think you might have a more streamlined access to like direct contact with the course instructors, but I'm not sure.
Right, because there'd have to be some sort of incentive. Otherwise, it's a pyramid scheme.
I don't know, but I know that people love their Peloton workouts. But anyway, yeah, we were looking at what to do, like in as far as that, just because with the January, the Weight Watchers, the blah blah blah. Cool. All right, we got less than a day to go, everybody. Woohoo! And then hopefully you'll almost never have to listen to us talk about Donald Trump and hopefully not politics for a long time. Yay!
Hooray! I'm ready for a new topic.
A new topic. Speaking of new topics, we watched some TV this week. The only two things we were supposed to prep were Bridgerton and Sabrina, right?
Yes.
Fantastic.
Sure hope so, because that's all I did.
Me too. And I watched literally all 8 episodes of Sabrina since 10 o'clock last night until today.
It's impressive.
It is. I wonder if it's a different viewing experience, like watching through them all back to back to back to back to back like that.
We'll find out. Anyway, yeah, so we didn't finish Bridgerton until 10 o'clock last night. And then I was like, well, I got to get 2 Sabrinas in now. That's what she said. And I had a lot of work to do at work today, but I thankfully didn't have any meetings. So, I just put it on the one screen, did all of my busy work on the other screen, and I had a good 6-7 hours worth of work. So I got up until the last one done at work, and then I finished the last one in parts, and then I ended up, while Alex was showering, I watched the end of the last one, and I did cry.
Oh.
But
my reaction to the end of the last one was a little bit different.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no. The very last scene of the last one, I think we're gonna have to talk about. But okay, spoilers, everybody. We're gonna talk about. I guess we're starting with Sabrina, and then we're gonna do Bridgerton. I will have hopefully made an announcement without of the timestamps at the beginning of the show without deleting the track by accident, like I did last week. We could talk about it at the end of the show. But yes, so we'll do Chilling Adventures of New Sabrina, and then we'll do Bridgerton because I don't know. That
feels like a good progression. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So, what did you guys think of the final season of The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina?
It was okay.
Yeah, I thought it started out strong, and like I love the first season, and then afterwards, like many shows, it's like they always have to up the ante afterwards, and sometimes that works, but usually it doesn't. And so with Sabrina, it was kind of like, I'm still here for it. Like, I know it's going to be ridiculous, whatever, it's still fun. And so that's kind of like what I went into this last season. That was my mind space.
Yeah.
And I thought that they started out fun. There were a couple, like, in particular, that scene where they're talking about how her and Roz are running as witches and, like, what does that mean? And, like, oh, we're, like, you know, proud women, blah, blah, blah. Like, that scene was really great. I loved it. Mm. So there were some good, like, gems in it. But then when you get to the end, you're like, I guess that's the way that you could end the series if you really want to.
So, yeah.
I think, my feelings are probably very, very similar. I think with each passing season, it did just seem to get a little more ridiculous.
Well, I think season 3 was just so shark jumpingly. I liked 4 better than I liked 3.
Yes, I think so too. And I think I kept thinking watching this, like just how much more gory it was and how they really were moving more into like horror tropes and not being a big fan of the horror genre and not watching much of it. I feel like there's a lot of trope happening and probably a lot of Easter eggs and things that they're planting along the way that like just sort of went over my head because I'm just not that into that genre.
Yeah, I didn't get all of the references. The ones that I got, I did like. And we did get a Rocky Horror.
We did, which I appreciated. I started laughing to myself because I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh my God.
Like, and really grabby for things, but
damn, Roz.
Sometimes I appreciated it.
Roz can sing.
Say, the one part that I did like laugh out loud was when Sabrina Morningstar had to go into that like parallel universe and she walks into her room and it's the aunties from the 90s
that
version.
I thought that whole episode was very clever.
It was so clever. I loved that. I loved the 2 Aunt Zeldas kind of beefing too.
Yeah. I think that might have been my favorite, a highlight of the season for me, just because it felt uniquely original, whereas like everything else in the season did really feel grabby. Like that's a terrible way to describe it, but like they were just sort of reaching for all these tropes and like trying to make like everybody's gonna sing sometimes, and they're gonna be like a totally like a grindhouse sometimes, and it just like they were trying to accomplish too much with too many.
So
genre things, but that I really thought was so clever.
Yeah, to me, yes and no. I went in and noticed a lot of that stuff and was like, oh, they knew this was their last season, so it felt very much like a show that was written to have a finite ending. And I actually did enjoy it, maybe watching them all back to back in less than 24 hours time. I actually did. I liked the Eldritch Terrors stuff. I thought that perhaps they were a little too easy to beat each time, but whatever.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. If they're like these like big, huge, infinite things, why could we beat them one per episode?
The Father Blackwood stuff like kind of confused me. Just, I don't know, like his storyline seemed like within editing something had gotten lost, and the same with the Mary Blackwell stuff.
Yeah, like, it was just like trying to keep those characters around.
Right, exactly. What happened to the twins? Like we never found out. Like Judith and Judas, whatever they are. Like
Judas and Judith.
Yes, that's it. Yes. we see them, we know they're around, but we have no idea what happens to them. I didn't like Lilith killing Adam.
No, like, what was that?
Like, that was so random.
It's like part of me, some of these storylines sort of felt very like they thought they were going to have more episodes than they did. So they sort of started these storylines, and then they just kind of abandoned them and never followed through.
Maybe. I don't know. That whole thing was like, okay, she's an evil. She's evil. We remember, blah, blah, blah. Why would she have the remorse? I don't know. I know.
Yeah. No, me too.
I know. I kind of was as well. But then, you know, I don't know. I didn't like that Mambo Marie ended up being like,
I hated that.
I didn't like that either. It kind of just, I don't know.
I was so excited. Like, that's one of the things that I loved at the end of last season.
Yeah.
Was her and Aunt Zelda, like, make that happen. And then we got a little bit of it. And then she turned into a man and went away.
Right. Well, and more of a stereotype.
Yeah.
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 It's like she went from being this really interesting, fleshed out character to just, she was like a reverse triangle.
Yeah.
She just got like, they just more and more.
Yeah, I didn't like that either, like, at all. Like, if she had to have been like somebody that was tied to like the underworld or the afterlife or whatever, like, why couldn't she still be Mambo Marie of the afterlife? Like, why did she have to be a male god of or whatever it was?
Yeah.
Right.
I didn't understand, why did Sabrina Morningstar have to die?
Because we'd been with that character for less of the series.
But like, I
think that's why. Because I think we're more attached to Sabrina Spellman because she is, the hero.
Right, but I don't understand.
And the human life.
Right, but I don't understand, like, how did crashing through the window kill her?
I don't know. Because again, I feel like they were like, we just got to wrap this up. We don't have time to explain it. We got to get this going.
Like,
is it kind of like Dobby-esque in that she like almost got out, but then there's something in that world that got her right as she was going through. So then when she came through, she was dead.
Oh, that's fair. Because
Maybe.
Salem didn't make the trip into the...
Yeah, I noticed Salem didn't make it either.
Yeah, they were like, we can't even be bothered to animate that stupid cat puppet again.
She was holding him. And it was the same voice. Like, that's great.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I loved that so much. I loved that. And like making him the Eldritch Terror, perfect. Although them forming that alliance like out of nowhere where he wasn't like, let me go confront my brother Terror, like for trying to kill me, that was random too. But
yeah.
I don't know. I actually
scapegoating. It felt very 20 to me.
Sort of. But and I really liked I actually did like this season. I did actually. I liked the two Sabrinas. I thought I was going to hate it. I thought that was going to be what I didn't like about this season, and I like them. I like that she got with Caliban, whatever his name is. Like and I like that Caliban got to make fun of the fact that he was just a head of hair and a chiseled chest in the
that was
sitcom episode.
I really liked when she just likes herself. It's because it's interesting because it's like another person, but at the same time it's her.
Yeah. And
so I thought it was sort of an interesting commentary on like, like self-love and being enough for yourself. And, we all die alone. So like you have to, get right with yourself. And like, even that scene when she was having a dance party with herself, like I loved that.
Yeah. Same. I really liked, and if they had ended the series with the two Sabrinas, having to go their separate ways and never have contact again and like promising blah, 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 I would have been totally fine with that. And I actually was fine with Sabrina Spellman dying the way that she died. Like, I cried, but that's because I cry at everything. But I did cry. Like, Alex was in the shower and I'm sitting there like, I had the headphones on so I could hear over the water, and I'm just like, and because I'm sitting on the toilet and like I wasn't like using the toilet, but I was like sitting on the seat and had the computer up on like the sink next to it, and Zachary comes in, he's like, I have to poop, and I was like, go in the other bathroom.
Occupied.
Yeah, pretty much. I was like, I'm not moving. But I actually I liked that she made the sacrifice. It kind of felt like, things caught up to her in the end. And if they ever did, if they ever
Yeah.
did extend the series or bring it back or do a movie, like, it's very easy to bring her back from the dead because they talked about a gazillion times, like, we visited the afterlife. We talked about how there's no real death for witches and all that.
Mm-hmm.
The thing I didn't like was the last scene where Nick shows up and he's like, basically, yeah, I drowned myself for you so we could be together here. And to me, I'm like, so they're basically romanticizing suicide.
Yeah, it felt utterly unnecessary and just not...
Yeah.
Right? Like, why not make it, he comes to her and she's like, what are you doing in here? He's like, babe, it's been like 200 years. You know, time stops here, so you don't realize it. But, like, I lived a long life and I've come back for you. Like, why does it...
Or, like, why do we even
need to see that?
Like, I think it's already I think it's a bold statement to kill off your main character.
Yeah.
You know, and I think stories often don't go that route, like, in their ending. And so I think it like, that was a strong ending. And then they had to, like, you know, it felt a little, like, I feel like I used this reference for the last thing we talked about, but it feels a little like the epilogue of the Harry Potter series. Like, you don't need it. You don't need it. Just have your bold ending and just be done.
Yeah.
No, it just, I just kind of also couldn't even believe that she was dead. And because it's like, she's a witch and she's Sabrina, like, and she's really going to die. But I love Sabrina, but she does have quite the savior complex. And she is always kind of like creating issues for them. She definitely is always getting in her own way. Yeah. So I guess then that makes sense. But I was just like,
yeah, honestly.
Okay. I guess this is a wrap. But I will say, one character who I really, really liked in this season was Roz. Like, I mean, she's always great, but, like, I really feel like she really kicked a lot of ass this season.
Yeah, they gave her a great arc, which that's why I think it was really clever again, where she, you know, calls out like, "Oh, I would never get an arc. Like, I'm just like the sidekick. Like, what?" Yeah. It's like going against canon and, like, making her character so much more interesting. Yeah, no, I agree. I really liked that as well.
Yeah. Even Theo and Robin yes, their storyline was kind of whatever, but, like, if you think about it, like, in the teenage love, romance, blah, 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 like, you know, it kind of made sense. Like, I feel like, you know, me thinking that was, like, silly was from, like, a 36-year-old perspective versus, like...
Well, I'm just like, wait, did he need to go? Or should he, like, did he really like, I'm confused because he, like, left and then he came back and it was, like, his whole, like, you know, people were, like, leaving forever. I thought the understanding was then he couldn't come back, but then he did. And
I thought it was kind of
stay, but then Theo's human, so it's just, like, for a hot minute.
Well,
and
he said
that's
that
the joy of the show.
Exactly.
Like,
You just suspend your disbelief.
Seriously, otherwise you're not going to enjoy it.
Right.
You just have to watch it and take it for what it is.
Exactly. It's not like in the Lord of the Rings when the elves and everybody leaves Middle Earth to go live, like, you know, in peace and harmony. Yes, they were going to a different realm, but apparently it wasn't, you know, so far that he couldn't, like, answer like a text message to be like, "You up? Come back." So
seriously.
He had, you know, remorse.
Yeah. Again, like, I did like a lot of the elements of it. I wish that certain things made sense, and even with them not making sense, I really just didn't like that, you know, Nick killed himself to be with her at the end. Like, yes, so romantic, but also really problematic and not romantic at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and the fact that they, like, just got back together, like, 2 episodes, it was almost like that's how it almost felt in a way like they decided 2 seasons ago that that's how they wanted to end it.
Yeah.
And so they just were like, "Oh crap, we just have to get them back together so we can, like, have this ending. So we just really want this ending." And here you go. All your problems are fixed. You're in love again. Be happy.
Yeah.
Yep.
And how many times is Sabrina able to, like, have these things inside of her? Because it feels like at some point every Eldritch Terror was inside of her at some point. I know that sounds dirty. They were running a train on her. No, I'm just kidding.
When you think about it, I mean, yeah.
Ambrose, the very first scene, Ambrose is, like, speaking very weird, and I was like, did something happen last season where he had a stroke? Because
he is one of my favorite characters, but I had that thought too. It was like, wait, what happened to his accent? What's going on?
And it was all over the place, but I love that Dorcas forgave Agatha, and that's what made her sing. Oh, that was a beautiful moment.
Oh, yeah, I forgot all about that. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah. No, there were some really great things. Yeah, it was just the end. I was just like, okay, I guess it's over now.
Yeah. And then real quick, we had a bit of feedback. First thing was from Scott Eric. If you say the ending of Sabrina's season/series was anything other than awful, you'll be wrong. Bad enough, they blatantly ripped off the end of a season of Buffy, a series that was an obvious precursor and inspiration for Sabrina, but to essentially advocate what Nick clearly must have done is simply inexcusable in any day and age. Shameful, and it really left a bad taste in my mouth for a series that I otherwise really enjoyed. Hell, I think that ending was worse than the horrible final moments to shows like Dexter or How I Met Your Mother. Like I said, awful. Like I talked about, I agree with that. And I still need to get around to watching Buffy because I know I would love it. And then
I never saw Buffy to the end, so I actually don't know how it ends.
Yeah. And then Matt says, I pretty much agree with Scott. The end of Chilling Adventures of Sabrina was irresponsible, especially for a show that seemed to want to reach out to younger viewers. Great point. The rest of the season is a mess. The first part is fine. I think a fair amount of the blame for it going off the rails lands on Netflix for canceling it. The second half becomes this muddled rush to the finish line where almost every non-Sabrina storyline gets dropped. There are more loose threads this season than a crappy sweater.
I had forgotten that Netflix had canceled Sabrina. That does make more sense about like the rush and all the plot holes and the abandoned storylines. I thought it was just, the nature of the show that I had that is very important to point out.
Yeah.
Also, to go back to Ambrose, did he always have that wand? Where did the wand come from?
I love the way he wields it. It's
right like in the middle of his knuckles. Like, where did that come from? I feel like I missed something.
I want to say it's been in previous seasons, but I would really have to double check.
Okay, because why is he the only one that has a wand? It seems like witches that don't need a wand. I just. Again, you can't overthink this show. You enjoy it less.
Exactly. Like, I thought Lilith took over hell like 15 times, but apparently she finally did at the end.
That bitch will not quit.
Good for her. She wanted to smash that ceiling so hard.
Yeah, nevertheless, she persisted.
I feel like they could have even given her something to do other than like sitting in a room with a fake baby for several episodes. Like
her storyline felt a little tired by the end. It's like, how many times can this bitch be trying to take over hell?
Right. And like with Mary Wardwell, I'm like, oh, maybe we're just getting this because the actress had a clause for such and such screen time. Which didn't stipulate which character, because this doesn't make sense either.
Oh, yeah. Utterly unnecessary.
Yeah. But okay, overall, I think it's worth a watch to finish it out because it's only 8 episodes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure. For sure. Yeah. It was enjoyable, but like it's enjoyable in the fact that like
in that campy, ridiculous
and you can't overthink it. You just have to take it for what it is and just allow yourself to enjoy it.
Exactly.
And really like the aesthetic of it is just super fun and
yeah, I am going to miss it.
It's a fun world, even if you don't really understand.
Yeah, and I'm going to miss it. I hope that I'm going to miss it. I hope they get revived on HBO Max someday, and then we can get, like, I don't know, more Sabrina and Nick scenes a la Bridgerton, and that's my transition.
Well, speaking of which.
Do you guys want to move over into Bridgerton?
Sure.
Let's do it.
The series that last week Amanda blessed with the description "Masterpiece meets Gossip Girl."
Stand by it.
What'd you guys think?
I loved it. I mean, I told you guys when I finished it, like I miss it. I want to kind of stay in that world.
Yeah, I think it was the perfect thing for my Christmas break. It was just the characters are really, I don't want to say lovable because I don't think lovable is the right word. But there is something endearing. Maybe endearing is the word I want. That like you care. Like I care. I wanted to know what happened, and I just got sucked into the fantasy of the world.
Yes. And talk about another beautiful aesthetic. Like it's like such so much eye candy. From the costumes to the sets. And I had this thought, like in one of the scenes, they're like preparing for a ball, and it's like, just so many like servants and all of these different kinds of like maids and everything like coming out and setting up all this like, opulence. And then, there's like a very small minority of the actual people who are aristocrats, and so who are going to come to this ball. And I just had this thought of like, man, it's like wild to think that like, back in the day, the way that society was set up, that like there was just that difference between like living in a palace versus like, these other people who were like living almost, in the street, and like just like the stark contrast between the haves and the have-nots. And then it occurred to me that it's actually exactly the same today. And that was pretty depressing. It's like we've changed our customs, but like, honestly, the gap between the haves and the have-nots is like exactly the same.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like the same, like very small minority of people who have just like, insane opulence. And the rest of us who, like probably have a few more rights than like the workers, in the 1800s or whenever that happened. But like, it's just, yeah, we haven't made as much progress as we think.
Oh, you showed up to the show with your real thinking brain. I was just like, unplug. No,
I unplugged.
Leave the world at the door. We're just watching some good-looking British people getting it on.
It was just so striking, though. And I just like that thought of like, oh, we're no different. Oh, fuck.
Okay, well, now I feel really bad because I didn't like it.
Oh, no.
I mean, I liked it just fine, I guess, but like Jay and I went into it and we were like, where's the fucking?
Wait for it.
I know. And then like at the end of episode 4, I was like, okay, Shandy and Amanda and my coworkers, everybody said like you got to get to 5 and then there's the fucking. And Jay was like, I know, my coworkers were like, this is softcore porn, and I was like, okay, well, where is it? And then it's so funny because I went in there thinking it was gonna be like soapy, campy, like whatever, but after 4, I was like, oh my God, this is like the longest, most boring foreplay ever. And I'm so sorry to feel that way. And then like in 5, like they got married and they're like, whatever. And then at some point we were just shouting at the screen. We're like, just fuck already.
And they did everywhere.
And they did.
And then
in 6 they fucked everywhere. But then we only had 1 episode of. So I wrote down several issues that I had with it and things that I didn't. And I'm really sorry because I feel like I'm the very far outlier. But Jay and I were talking about it. I thought that a lot of the drama was just like dumb. It was the same thing like with Lost, like. Talking, how does it work? Let's just talk to each other and solve a lot of these problems.
100%. And I would say though, that's an issue with like almost every single TV show is if the main characters would just fucking learn how to communicate, then you wouldn't be in this mess. But then I guess there would be no show. Or I guess there's something about us that we like that because it's not, I mean, I agree with you 100% for Bridgerton, but that shows
really
up like all the time.
Because I think it makes us feel less alone to watch that type of story because we like to feel superior when we're sort of yelling at the characters like, you're so dumb. If you just like talk to them, it would be fine. But, in reality, we know we do the same things in our own real life. That I think it's a way to kind of expel those demons in like our own existence and like work through them in a way that's a little more enjoyable.
I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that. But I didn't like the Penelope reveal because I thought that was also like just made her a giant asshole because she wasn't any better than anybody else. She just was. She betrayed what's her face, Marina, because she had a crush on the Nick Jonas lookalike, and like I don't know. I didn't like it. I was like, oh, I thought she was so sweet. But now knowing that she's the one that was like betraying everybody, I don't know if I like that or not.
But I don't know if she is. I feel like that might be a red herring because now that I know there's going to be so many seasons, why would you reveal who your gossip girl is at the end of season 1?
That's a totally fair point.
That's a good
point. And
point.
also, I would say my reaction to her was that, like, if she did, you know, like, spill the tea, you know, it's partially because, like, oh, she had a crush and whatever, but it's also partially because she, like, genuinely liked him as a human being, and he was going to be, you know, put into a situation that, you know, she was sort of protecting him. So I fair gave it a little bit for that.
All right, fair.
Also, I mean, also, like, she just gets shit on by everyone, like,
yeah,
you know, in her family, she's like the one that
in a family full of people that look and dress like wicked stepsisters.
Speaking of tropey,
right? It's like if you didn't figure out that you're not supposed to like them.
Except I love the fuck out of the evil stepmother mom. What's her name? Feather It Out. I loved all of her dresses. I was like, Farrington, thank you.
Lady Farrington.
I was like, I love that dress. I love that dress. I know this is ugly, but I love this dress. I noticed when she wore them twice. I was like, oh, she's wearing this one again. That doesn't happen very
she wore the same dress twice?
She did. One of the, like, floral ones, I believe. Unless it looks similar. But also, she wore it twice, and they talked about how they had money problems and they couldn't get the new dresses. And I was like, oh, that's why she wore it twice. Yeah. So that was actually really clever.
Yeah, that was.
I also enjoyed the somewhat colorblind casting. I didn't like that the only, like, prominent black young woman in society had to have been the one that was, like, you know, pregnant out of wedlock and get sent off.
Yeah,
I didn't like that.
I did not like that.
Who wasn't even that, you know, prominent of a lady to begin with, because we're made to understand that her family's poor and
but
and from the country. And
what's the woman's name who was kind of like his fairy godmother? Because he is so hot.
Oh my god! Maybe that's part of why I was just, like, really there for it.
He was so hot. I can't even. And Jay wanted me to say for his feedback, quote, "He's so hot, I'd let him pull out of me." Unquote.
Seriously, that hot. But yeah, his aunt is one of the best characters.
She's awesome.
I love her.
I will say that the, you know, quote unquote French woman who's, like, not a French
Madame
woman.
Delacroix.
Yes.
Yeah. Which I only remember because of
she's not
LaCroix.
No, she's not French, but also I can never remember anyone's name. So the one that we were just talking about from the country, who called her out on it because she's half French.
Oh, Marina,
She's also not French. Let the record state. I actually had to, like, I couldn't understand some of the stuff that she said. Just saying.
But I also felt like, and I'm hoping there's storylines that are threads we're going to pull on in, like, future episodes, but, like, the whole, like, Cliveden being mismanaged with the rent, like, who was raising the rent? Like, what about, like, the thing with the pigs? Like, I thought that there was a good opportunity for another, like, Aldovia style, like, you know what I mean? Like, where's the money going kind of investigation? Like, I thought that it was just totally right for that.
Totally could have been. But so the pigs, like, she did say that she was going to set that right. And so because we never saw that actually happen, I just kind of took it to be like, oh, okay, she said it right off camera and whatever.
Right, because it was either between that and another scene of him eating her out. And I also would have taken the eating her out scene, so they made a good choice. But it was really hot.
Also, just, like, side note, I mean, imagine like really having that little knowledge about how basic things work.
Mm-hmm.
I know. Mm-hmm. I know. So clearly Penelope must have had some sort of idea on how things work if she was also Lady Whistledown, who was clearly speaking about things sounding like it was coming from a place of knowledge.
See, which is also why I think she is not Lady Whistledown.
I think I think you might be right.
Maybe she's teamed up. Like maybe it is Delacroix and they've got a partnership where she
does the deliveries,
or she does something like
I think she's involved somehow, but I don't think she's Lady Whistledown. I think that is just
oh my god,
something to tease us into next season.
Okay, that would A, make me feel better about it, and B, be so Agatha Christie if there were multiple Whistledowns.
Ooh.
Everybody took a stab.
Right.
But I don't know. I definitely want to watch more, but I felt like it was kind of like a bad grocery store novel at points. I don't know. Why introduce the thing with the housekeeper hating her if that was never going to actually play out? Like maybe this is all stuff
There's going to be like 8 seasons of this thing.
I know. I feel bad, but it was mainly because I went in there and I was like, I want the softcore porn. And then I only got 1.5 episodes of it.
I can send you some links if you're like looking.
I'm good. But I didn't hate it. Like I feel bad criticizing a show that like so many people like really, really loved.
Well, but I think it's also, I don't think it's meant to be great television. I think it's meant to be a guilty pleasure. Like it's
then I need more sex. If it's a guilty pleasure, I need more of the Lord Hastings ass, just his ass.
Yeah. A guilty pleasure that's also like just eye candy, like in all senses, in all the ways that you could interpret that. It's just so beautiful to look at.
Yeah, it's like I feel like it was what Tiger King was at the beginning of the pandemic. We have evolved. We need escapism that's prettier.
Fair.
That's a little nicer on the eyes.
Yeah.
And that we feel a little less bad about ourselves for watching.
True, but she needs at least 2 more husbands before she can be as cool as Tiger King. I will say this. This show did wonders for the missionary position.
That's fair. I didn't even think about that. Bringing it back.
Making missionary great again.
Someone had to.
The only thing but I also didn't like the questionably rapey scene, like rape adjacent scene where she's like, forcing him to come inside her. Because she could have also just had the conversation and be like, do you do that on a tissue because you don't want to have a child? I don't know. I felt like because he did the stuttering thing afterwards, and I watched it in closed captioning. So the closed captioning was like, whoa, what did you do? And I was like, oh, I think they're trying to illuminate a stutter because he doesn't have...
Oh, yeah. I totally missed that.
Well, I only picked up on it because, again, we watch it in closed captioning. So the closed captioning was like, whoa, what did you do? And I was like, oh, is that supposed to be a stutter? And I did go back, like, we did the, like, skip back 15-second thing and, like, rewatch it. And I was like, I think it is. But, like, because at one point he's like, no, you can't do this. And then even though he finishes, because he can't stop it at that point, he didn't want that part of it. So, like, that's why I feel like it was kind of like rape adjacent. She didn't know any better. So it's like all sorts of messy. But, like, I didn't love that she tried to trick him with that. But at the same time, like, I get it's a soap opera and that's what they do. I'm glad that nobody tried to, like, push her down the stairs to, like, ensure that she wasn't pregnant, which would have been a soap opera. Right. So,
but to be fair, so many other instances throughout the series, like, they do make a note of consent. So
they do. But he does.
Yeah, that scene in particular is really, it does take the idea of consent and really just
flip it. Because if it was reversed, if it was, if he was the woman and she was the man, we would be like outraged over that scene, right?
Right.
So I don't know. But again, like, I understand that she also doesn't understand how all that works too.
Well, and to go into, what we sort of talked about earlier of, like, these sort of shows exist because people don't know how to talk to each other. And it's just straight up lack of trust and communication. That like if she trusted that he could have the conversation with her, she wouldn't have felt as though that was something she needed to do, even with her limited understanding of how sexual relations worked. You know, it's like you could make the case that she was like testing a theory, but really when it comes down to it, it's just a sheer instance where a conversation should have been had, and it wasn't because the characters didn't trust each other or whatever.
Right. And I would have preferred them to have the conversation so then we can get another 2 episodes of the sex, but you know. I sound super thirsty. I'm not. I was just really in for it.
Well, because it's also
and
it's
like
so built up. When you come to the series after so many people have been talking about it, like you have certain expectations.
I know. And again, I sound really thirsty. I'm not, y'all. I had sex last night. I'm good. But like, just saying. Like,
my life is fine.
I am fine. Just saying in general. Like, I went into this show expecting something very different than what it is. But that said, I'm super in for a second season. Like, let's do it. I want to see all 30 of the kids she's going to have. But also then my other question was, while she was, you know, asking her nursemaid, like, or whatever her name, like her chief of staff, like how babies are made, couldn't she also like ask her how are babies not made? It seems like if Madame Delacroix has figured it out when she's that was also a really funny conversation with Eloise where she's like, you know, where they're just talking about it in general and she's thinking like, she's like, I'm not going to compromise anybody, meaning like I'm not going to get myself knocked up. And Eloise thinking that she's saying, I'm not going to write bad things about your brother.
Yeah, Eloise is great. I mean, I think like that's the whole purpose that she's been given in life is to like have kids. So
yeah.
I don't think it's a thought that really comes into her mind.
Yeah.
Or just, you know, if you know how one thing happens, you just assume the inverse to be true for the other.
Well, she's been observing how kids are not conceived. You know,
right, exactly.
Although pre-ejaculate, just saying.
I know.
It's still possible.
I mean, that was also like an advertisement for the pull-out method.
Yeah.
I mean, they went out of their way to show us.
They really did. But for the audience at home, not a foolproof.
No, not a good means of family planning.
But yeah, no, I don't know. I did like it. Okay. I said I didn't like it. I liked it. You know, I just expected something different, but talking it through, I feel a lot better about it.
It's just so pretty.
It is. It's just
the dresses are awesome.
Oh,
I loved all those are
the costumes. Yeah,
I didn't realize
eating a giant ice cream sundae.
Yeah,
like it's not good for you, but it's enjoyable.
Are we thinking that Eloise is like your token lesbian character? No.
Maybe.
Oh, I kind of hope so.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Because she kind of has like Joe March vibes. But
yeah.
Also, I was kind of bummed that Benedict didn't have a threesome with the artist and his lover.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping for that too.
I was too.
Like, again,
I mean, it could still happen. He could just have a giant orgy with the artist and his wife's lover and his lover, and they could all just be free lovers.
They did a good job of setting things up. So like, there's plenty of opportunity for these things to pay off down the road.
I mean, it was definitely like really interesting to see like that house party that he went to, essentially, where like there are like 3 couples making out on the stairs, where it's like, did you just travel back to like high school? Like, what is like people are just like making out in corners of the room. But I guess when you live in kind of a repressive society, that's what happens.
The only other thing I didn't get was the Sienna thing. She was all in for going to the ball, and then all of a sudden she was like a complete 180. Like, I understood her point there. I don't know, it just kind of came out of nowhere for me.
I wonder if it's one of those things that
something got lost in editing.
It would have been nice to have one more scene to sort of bridge us there, but it's like when you sort of get caught up in the moment of like, yeah, I could live that life, and then when the sort of
Yeah.
Fairy dust of it settles. You're like, I'm
Right.
crazy. I'm never going to be a part of that world.
Right. And I wish that she could have expressed that a little bit more and not like, I'm going full Hulk now. Again.
Right. Like why it had to be like a big long soliloquy speech and why we didn't get like the more introspective scene in between.
Right.
It was a very sharp turn because of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And to wrap up, we have a voicemail from Maggie.
Hey, Amanda, Shandy, and Colleen. This is Maggie, and I'm calling in with some Bridgerton feedback. I'm going to try to keep this under control because I'm obsessed. Yes, I watched the show in a day. I had also previously read the books a while ago, and I have since it came out, I've since read all the books. Oh, 9. Well, I have another one that says Lady Whistledown one.
Damn.
So my main question for you ladies is, how surprised were you by the Lady Whistledown reveal? Because I read the books, I was sort of like, are they going to change it? Are they not? And then I was like, are they going to give it to us in this season? Like, because it takes 4 books to find out who Whistledown is in the books. So yeah, that's my main thing. I just love the show. I think it's beautiful. It's so colorful, and the acting is fun, and it's just a good show. They made some changes for the book. The Queen is not in the books at all. So I really like how they did that. And I've liked all the characters that they've kind of added and expanded on. So, without getting into too much, because, is it spoilers with going into other books? Because they may not change it. I definitely think they are going to change at least one, if not 2 of the siblings. Because, at least based on the first season, it makes me think that they might change Benedict and Eloise, which either would be fine. But and so, if anybody does need some fun escapism, the Bridgerton books are really fun. They're super funny. Actually, that's funny. The books, the characters are much funnier than the show was. But I just finished the books this week, so I will be planning to rewatch the show. So, loved it a lot, and I just can't get over all the costumes. I think for the actress that played Daphne, she had like 109 dresses for the whole thing, and they're just all gorgeous. So, okay, ladies, I hope you're having a good night, and I'll talk to you soon. And happy almost Inauguration Day! Yay! Good night. Bye-bye.
Woohoo!
Bye-bye. 12 hours left.
I believe that my desires for Benedict and Eloise are going to come true.
Yeah.
That was my takeaway of that.
That would be great.
Okay, so she primarily wanted to know about what we thought about the Lady Whistledown revelation. Maggie, I hope that we answers your question to your satisfaction earlier on in our discussion. And I imagine now, when we were talking about pulling on the strings of that reveal, you were probably laughing at us when we were totally wrong.
Yeah, now I'm a little bummed. I really hope that is something then they change from the books, because I feel like the reveal happened too soon.
Well, we will see.
So we will see.
Maybe, I want to say maybe I'll read the books, but we all know that that's not going to happen, because I still need to do Little Fires Everywhere and about 100 other books. But, Maggie, if you can tell me if there's more of episode 6 in the books, if you could just let me know, then... Look, on a scale to 1 to like 50 Shades of Grey, just let us know what the books are. Like, where do they fall on that scale? Okay, thank you. I'm just curious at this point, much like I believe Benedict and Eloise are.
Legit.
Nailed it.
Cheers. All right. Any last thoughts on Bridgerton?
Nope.
All right. Well, then, on that note, let's take a quick break, and we will come back and get into some more feedback. All right, we are back, and we are ready to get into some feedback. Lots of congratulations for Amanda. Rebecca says, very exciting.
Thanks, team.
John says, congratulations. I was listening to the podcast yesterday, and when Colleen mentioned you were making baby food, I thought it was kind of rude and out of character for her. Then when she broke the news at the end, meaning you, it made sense and I was happy and relieved. Oh, come on. That's me saying something random is out of character? Do you not know me by now? Randy says I'm not crazy about pumpkin pie. I'll eat it, but not enthusiastically. You need to warm it up and put the whipped cream on it. Just saying.
Whipped cream is key.
Yeah, that's one of the few pies not a la mode.
Matt says more current reading, Transcendent Kingdom by Yesja Jossi, about a neuroscience candidate studying reward systems in mice while thinking of her life, her brother's death, and her mother's severe depression, with ruminations on race, religion, addiction, and how we are who we are. Jossi, with only 2 books to her name, the other one being 2016's Homegoing, has become a writer of formidable insight and one whose work will automatically find a space in my priority to read pile. I have no doubt that Matt will update the broadcast book club link that is, as always, in the show notes. Thank you.
Indeed.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's move on to Butter She-Mails. We got an email from Kathy.
All right, so Kathy writes in, congrats, thanks, and an update. Oh boy. ASC. I like it. Concise. Number 1. Congratulations to Amanda. April is one of the best months to have a baby. The baby of our family was born on Shakespeare's birthday. Oh, that's cool. I agree. I feel like we timed this pretty well. I'm not mad at it. Number 2. Number 2.
Wait, isn't Shakespeare's birthday, isn't his birthday April 23rd?
I thought it was the 16th.
Is it?
I just know that Shakespeare was born and died on the same day.
He died on April 23rd.
Oh, cool.
That's wild.
That is wild. I didn't realize he was born on that day, but when you Google it, Wikipedia has his death day.
Yeah, I knew he was born and died on the same day. He
okay.
was one of those people.
Not to toot my own horn or anything, but I did call out Shakespeare's birthday.
You did. That was pretty impressive.
Impressive, yes.
I'm so sorry. Continue with the email. This is not all about me.
No, that was good. You know, props. Props where props do.
Snaps. Sometimes I do amaze myself.
Snaps for Colleen.
I'm so sorry.
Okay. Number 2. Thank you, Shandy, for the recommendation of Home for Christmas.
Yay.
I watched the first 6 episodes last night. We'll finish it tonight, and there appears to be a 2nd season.
Ooh.
Then I'll watch The Flight Attendant. Can't wait for that one as well. Me too. Now that we're done with Sabrina and Bridgerton, the flight is some insert pun about flight attendant and flying and aviation in general. Oh, edit all that out. That was terrible.
No, just say, now that I'm done with Bridgerton and Sabrina, prepare for takeoff with the flight attendant.
I'm not saying that. Oh, abandoned joke. All right. Number 3. I've written in a few times about the surprise our youngest daughter had for us a few years ago now. We are still trying to get her name changed, but getting a birth certificate from our county or state is proving very difficult during these unprecedented times. Understandable, but still frustrating. Yeah, it shouldn't be so hard. And then she finishes the email. We were so happy to hear Joe Biden actually positively mentioned trans people in his speech way back in November. At the very least, there is that. Happy New Year to you all. I'm so glad you are all still podcasting, Kathy. And we are so glad that you wrote in.
And still listening.
Yes.
Yeah, that was his speech on, what was it, November 7th, the election was called?
Well, and now, I mean, he's done more than just mention trans people positively. He has nominated a trans woman to be assistant health secretary.
Yes.
It's awesome.
Yes.
So, yeah, that's pretty cool.
Dr. Rachel Levine, assistant health secretary. It's super exciting.
Yeah. Wow. She was apparently unanimously, approved. Like she unanimously passed at the state level in Pennsylvania.
Yes.
Oh,
So I kind of feel like that's, a good sign.
Yeah.
Like, clearly she's very respected in her field.
Super exciting, and looking forward to hearing and learning more about Dr. Levine and her talents as we move forward with the administration.
And I'm so glad that you watched Home for Christmas, Kathy, and let us know what you thought about the second season.
Now we've got some affirmation from Kathy.
Yeah. It's not just me. She co-signs. Do it.
gotta have that cosign. It's really important. There's so much to watch right now.
True. But it'll make you feel good inside. It's fun.
Who doesn't want to feel good inside?
Yeah. It's a good show. It's just, it's not like you don't get like the mystery of the flight attendant or the, crazy costumes of Bridgerton, but it's its own kind of fun.
Yes. I know
the pajamas.
I know the answer to who doesn't want to feel good inside. Simon Hastings. He doesn't want to feel good inside. You're welcome. We have entered my territory of jokes.
We'll be here all night.
Home field advantage. Thank you so much for your email, though, Kathy. We appreciate it. Glad to hear from you. Please keep us updated, especially with the name change stuff, because that sucks, and this shouldn't be that difficult. Thank you, Kathy, so much. And now we have, we'll finish this up with an Andy update.
Okay, so Andy writes in, this week in Andy's virginity. Hey, broads. When this is all over, I'm not going to get a sex trophy, am I? Well, even if that happens, that's still a ways off. I'm not even eligible for a participation trophy since by definition it requires participation. Oh well, good job, sexually active people. I hope to join your ranks someday soon. So I don't have any profound things to say about hope this time around. I'm still putting in the effort to believe, but it's been hard for me to get back into it. We know I've had difficulty as far as getting any responses I'd like from the women I'm interested in. It's tough these days, but I'll try to keep a positive attitude because who knows who I'll encounter. And with the possibility of the vaccines, maybe I'll have a little more to report. I'll leave you with the dad joke, even though we all know I'm far from fatherhood. What do the first women I'll sleep with and Amanda ordering a drink have in common? They'll both be having a virgin.
But
sorry, not sorry if that was too corny. Hashtag I'm 6 feet from hers, Andy.
Never.
I love dad jokes.
That is true about the vaccine, though. It's like, it's going at a snail's pace, but hopefully starting tomorrow, January 20th, as we record, plans might be put into place for it to maybe speed up. And hopefully this rollout will happen and we can all get vaccinated. Frank's parents are getting vaccinated on Friday, so that's really exciting.
Oh, that's great.
And yeah.
That's awesome.
They're rolling things out a lot faster in press. That's what happens when you have the national infrastructure.
Right.
But
have a coordinated plan from the top down.
Right. But it's just, it's nice to hear anyone that I hear about that's getting the vaccine, it's just like,
of course, the greatest intentions, right?
Exactly. It's ambitious.
Right. If it happens,
maybe they can do it. We were talking, Daniel's dad is a pharmacist and he thought it was possible.
Dr. Fauci said it's possible as long as everybody just, people get their flu shots pretty quickly.
Yeah.
I just think I agree. Who knows how it's actually gonna roll out, but just the simple fact that the person in charge will actually have a plan and won't have, for example, lied about having all of that stock of vaccines, for example, just an example to pull out of the air, that in and of itself is just going to be so different. Yeah. That it can't go worse. Let's just say knock on wood, but
take it back right now.
But he has a plan.
I know.
Turn around 3 times and spit on the ground.
Or go say Macbeth somewhere. Move that curse somewhere else.
Right. It only works if you're in a production of it.
Nobody's
was
in
where I
productions
said-
of it right now.
It probably couldn't be worse.
Yeah, there we go. That's
Is that enough of a... Okay.
okay.
Just saying. It might not work out perfectly like we want, but he's got a plan. Which
He's
is
got a plan. Joe's got a plan for
a
that.
giant step in the right direction.
Exactly. Anyway, Andy, thank you so much for the dad joke. Anyway, on that note, next Monday, the 25th, or this upcoming Monday, the 25th, we are going to be live with a final broad topics to talk about everything that's happened. It's been a busy few weeks. 9 p.m. Over Zoom. It's the same Zoom link that we've been using for all the other broad topics. On Tuesday, the 26th, we are going to be live for the Hangout Level patrons. So if you would like to become a Hangout Level patron and join us live each month, you can go to patreon.com/JanJack. Special thank you to the patrons that contribute a certain level, and that we Tack from Tokyo, Eckhart Rickner, Maggie the Magnificent, Joanne with a Plan, Greg the Gray, and Ed the Creepy Man. Thank you guys so much. If you have any feedback about anything that you heard today, you can email thebroadcasters3@gmail.com or give us a call at 331-276-2373. Hopefully within the next week or so, we can talk about Flight Attendant. So give us your feedback about that. And yeah, maybe we'll have a jammy party for the patrons next week. We'll see. I don't know. Show up in your jammies and we'll see if you're in the right dress code. Just kidding. That would be terrible, right? The pajamas optional party, which is, AKA all of Zoom parties. Jammies optional. But yeah, everybody stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you for listening. And I guess we'll see you next week. On that note, my name is Colleen.
My name is Amanda.
And I'm Shandy.
Peace out, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.